Hello everybody and welcome back to another Figurehead Reviews video, and today we are taking a look at the Walmart exclusive Avengers Infinity War 2-pack featuring Loki and Corvus Glaive. We have Loki with the Tesseract in the front window, and then we got Corvus Glaive with his staff in the front windows as well. We get an Avengers Infinity War logo down at the bottom. We get a shot here of Loki on the side. We get a shot of Corvus Glaive on that side. On the back, we get an artistic rendering of Corvus Glaive, and then we get a shot of Loki over there. And of course, we do have the read-up here. Known for his shifting allegiances, Loki faces evil head-on when he is confronted by the Black Order, a sinister group of Thanos' cohorts that include the menacing Corvus Glaive. On the top, we get nothing but that little window sliver there, and on the bottom, we do have the UPC code, so you can check with your local Walmart to see if they have this in stock. But enough about that, let's get this open and take a look at Loki and Corvus Glaive. And here is Loki and Corvus Glaive outside of the packaging, reliving that scene in Infinity War when Loki is handing the Tesseract over. I actually was trying to find a scene in that, or rather a spot in that opening scene where the two shared the screen for any significant amount of time, and the only thing that I really saw at a glance is when he is handing over the Tesseract, Corvus Glaive's staff is at Loki's back, and that's about all I found. But anyway, still very cool to get these figures. I think most people are going to be excited for the Corvus Glaive figure to round out their Black Order, and I think it looks great. I will tell you right now, I cannot stand one thing about both of these figures, and it's these capes. I can't get Loki's cape to pin in and stay pinned in. Corvus Glaive's cape is so long that you're going to have a hard time getting any poses where he's really any lower than almost standing straight up. And I'll kind of show you what I mean when we do our closer looks. But let's first jump in. We're going to take a look at Corvus Glaive's staff, and then we're going to look at the Tesseract, and then we'll take a look at the two figures themselves. And here we have Corvus Glaive's staff as well as the Tesseract. So looking at the staff first here, pretty cool design they got. You got those extra blades or spikes coming out on the end. I really like the style used here. I think this actually is the plastic. I don't think this is paint, or at least not all paint, but it looks really weathered. I think that looks pretty cool. And then as we go down, you get pretty standard handle there with some standard deco. And then of course we get the other end of the staff, which doesn't have the extra blade coming out. It has one, but it doesn't have the two extra blades and then the additional long one. So, but that is pretty cool. And then for the Tesseract here, I have my X-Acto knife that I use to cut open all my packaging, and we're gonna stick that on there just so that I can get you a little bit better view. And I mean, it's a big chunk of translucent blue and molded into a square. So there's really not a whole lot to the Tesseract. This is actually something that has been used a couple times now in the Marvel Legends figures. I think it came with the Guardians of the Galaxy Entertainment Earth 5-pack, the original Red Skull, with the San Diego Comic-Con MCU Red Skull, and now with Loki. So we've seen the Tesseract a lot, and there's not a whole lot to look at. So let's go ahead and jump in now and take a look at the figures. So starting first with Loki, we can see a pretty cool looking head sculpt. This is actually the same head sculpt and actually same body mold as the Loki that came with the Thor Ragnarok wave. I don't have that Loki sitting around, unfortunately, but it is the same. I looked up references, just a different paint deco. And the head sculpt and actually even the paint there looks pretty similar. It does use the newer digital paint technology, so you can see you get a pretty good quality paint. And then, as usual, when we get up real close, we can see those dots making up the overall color. So still very cool. Going down the rest of the figure, so we have, again, a reused body for Loki, but it still came out looking good. It is different paint, so that is at least something different. But you get some design. From what I saw, it is less deco here, and then just different colored painted pieces, but this doesn't have as much going on. Certainly a darker tone to it. And then the cape, not bad. And the boots and everything. Yeah, so it looks pretty good. And I had mentioned the struggles with the cape. So basically, the cape has these tabs right here on the shoulders, and they go in just under there on the shoulder. And I found the easiest way to do it is to actually take the head off for the first time porting it in, but then when you move the head around, I would just be cautious, and not cautious, but just hold those shoulder pads down, because there's a good chance that one of them is going to pop up on you. I kept having this one pop up when I was even doing the posing earlier on the turntable. So, but yeah, let's go ahead and take a look at Corvus Glaive now. I think that's what we've all been waiting for. And here is Corvus Glaive, and very menacing look, and really, really well executed head sculpt and paintwork there. We get those red eyes in there. You get these sharp, nasty, and looks like maybe even bloody teeth. Very cool looking. He's got the hood there. This one's a little bit bent. I will say, watch out. The first pack that I saw, this was completely bent, like way down like that. So I made sure I found one that didn't have that bent up. But if you need to straighten it, you should be able to do the hot water trick, no problem. But man, that head sculpt is just awesome looking. A lot of fun when they're doing a creature as opposed to an actor, because they can have a lot more freedom to really go at it with the paint there and that design. So just looking up close again, yeah, that is awesome looking. Man. Looking at the rest of the figure, so as we go down, you have this chest piece here that came out looking good, and you get these gold. It's not a dry brushing or anything, but it kind of gives an illusion of a dry brushing. Just makes this uniform look weathered, which I like, and that is very cool. And it just sort of rests over him. This is a soft rubber-like material, so you do get some flexibility still if you do need to do some posing. You are going to have a little bit of trouble, though, with this side. And then going down on the back, that whole piece does turn into his cape, which a lot of design work that was done in that cape, and that is really cool looking. And you'll see right there, that's kind of my issue with his cape, is just that at laying flat, it is longer than his feet, so I was having a hard time standing him up. But looking at the rest of the figure, though, checking out the midsection, he's got this guy here with, again, a lot of design and artwork going into that. And it actually does extend to the backside under his cape. Very cool. And the hands, very creepy. Three fingers and a thumb. He's got this open gesture hand, and then he's got a gripping hand. And really, the open gesture hand still works for holding his staff, so it's fine. It's not an issue. And the legs, and some pretty gnarly looking feet. So very cool overall, and just a really well executed figure and a great addition, in my opinion, to the MCU. And taking a look first at Loki's scale, we can see he's coming in right at about 6.5 inches tall. Looking at his articulation, so you have a head that can go side to side, and it's not really hindered at all by the hair, which is very cool. That hair does move around for you, so I mean, you can get all the way to the side, which is very nice. He can look down quite a ways, and he can actually, again, look up because that hair isn't too bad. He does have shoulders that can come up, and not all the way up. Oh, that's a pretty stiff joint there. I'm not going to work on that one right now. I'll mess with it later. But he is going to get stopped by those shoulder pads there. He can rotate all around, but you are going to pop that peg off, as I mentioned. He does have a bicep swivel that goes underneath that shoulder piece. He does have double jointed elbows, and then he has a hinge and rotation at the wrist. He does have a ab crunch that can look down that far. Can look back actually a ridiculous amount, and of course you lose the sculpt work there, but yeah, he can look down. That is just absurd. I don't know if I've ever seen a Marvel Legend that can do that. And then he does have waist rotation as well. He's got legs that can come apart about that far, and it's not really hindered by this. That slides up quite a ways, but that is about how far the legs can go. He can kick forward pretty far, backwards not too bad, upper thigh cut, double jointed knees, and then he does have a hinge and ankle pivot. And taking a look at Corvus Glaive, I had to turn him to the side because his cape was interfering with my little measuring thing here, but we can see he's coming in at a little over 7 inches tall. As far as articulation goes, you have a head that can go side to side, and it's not hindered at all by this hood that he's wearing. You have a head that can go down that far and can look back. It does get hindered there going back, so that's not too good. You have this arm that can come up quite a ways, not too shabby, I guess, but this one is going to start getting blocked by that, so you don't really have much there, and of course you're not going to get much rotation out of that arm, and honestly you're not going to get much rotation out of this arm either because of that, but you do have a bicep swivel, double jointed elbows, and then you do have a hinge and rotation on both wrists. He does have a diaphragm joint there. You can get down, not too bad, and back, not bad there. And then he also has underneath there a waist swivel. He has legs that can come apart about that far, can kick forward that far, backwards. Nope, not at all. He does have a upper thigh cut, double jointed knees, and then he does have a hinge that can go up and down and ankle pivot. And for a quick comparison, here is Loki standing next to his brother as he appeared in that scene with the eye patch, and of course his murderer, the Build-A-Figure Thanos from the first Infinity War wave. And for another quick comparison, here is Corvus Glaive standing next to that same Build-A-Figure Thanos, which actually, now that I think about it, was that the Wave 2 Infinity War Thanos? I don't remember. But then we also have the Cull Obsidian Build-A-Figure that was one of the Infinity War waves. Of course, we also have Proxima Midnight. All we need now is Ebony Maw. And that about wraps it up for this review, everyone. And overall, I think we're all very excited to get an MCU Corvus Glaive figure, to get another MCU Loki, especially one that uses the same body sculpt as the Ragnarok Loki, is kind of a bummer. I think I know why Hasbro gave us the 2-pack. It just allows them to get Corvus Glaive sold and just everybody gets an obligatory Loki. I think it would have been cool if they would have made it a little bit more worth our while. Maybe have a hand, a gripping hand, and then a dagger, so we can at least recreate Loki's attempt to kill Thanos there at the opening scene. But instead we get a Tesseract, which we've gotten before, and I think it makes sense why we get a Tesseract. I just think it would have been cooler to get something like the daggers. And then the Corvus Glaive figure, I think, just looks awesome, and I think we're all excited to round out our Black Order. But again, as I said, this is it for the review. Make sure to hit that like button if you like the review. Make sure to subscribe if you want to see more content just like this. And I appreciate you guys stopping by and watching my video. And as always, have a great day.